Thank you so much for joining us on a Tuesday night. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this is, thank God it's Tuesday. Happy to be with you guys on, I don't know, kind of an eventful week in the Washington football team story. Thanks to all the folks at Hogs Haven for making it over. We appreciate you guys. We are the official WFT podcast of Hogs Haven. This man here is Kevin Ricca.
I mean, it happens fast around here. It comes hard, it comes fast, it comes quick. Last week was something, this week's nothing. It's happened about 4 times under Rivera, about 100 since I can remember. So let's have at it.
He's Tim Strachan.
I woke up Monday morning and had my
Always
breaking news myself. I had to part from the beard. I felt at the time it was right for us to go separate ways. We had our good times. We had some highlights, but ultimately it just wasn't living up to my standards of what a beard should be.
The beard let you down on
Sunday?
Sunday?
The immaturity of the cheek area,
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't developing like it should have, and I
You
had to make that decision.
You look young, a lot younger tonight. The extra sweatshirt is negating the beard diet aspect
That's
of
true.
the shave.
I have 2 sweatshirts on. It's cold as hell outside.
And the
my
wreath,
chin
obviously.
is so damn cold. It hasn't been this damn cold ever.
That's what happens
But I haven't given up. I haven't given up on the beard completely. I mean, he may get another chance
Someday.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We appreciate everybody enjoying, hopefully, an awesome week in between a variety of December and January holidays coming up on the new year for everything. God, 2020 has been interesting. There's been certainly some things about it I would have been glad to do without. But I'm not the kind of guy that says, you know what, let's. There's parts of 2020 that made us better, and we can talk to that. Maybe get to that later in the show. I want to spend a couple of parts of the show, kind of 2 equal parts, maybe almost equal parts. The Dwayne Haskins era being over, that's a big thing, but probably bigger. What has to be bigger, what needs to be more important, is the fact that the last week of this season matters for the playoffs. A game against Philadelphia with a banner on the line. These things are more important than a first-round pick busting out. But we got to talk about it all. Eric Anderson, hope you're feeling good, buddy. We appreciate seeing you on the boards. Rob Cohen, Keegan Tier, Greg Martin, Rhett Donnelly, James Rainey, HGH, a lot of people coming back and hanging out with us from all over the world. Appreciate you guys. First things first, we lost a game we needed to win. That happened. For whatever reason you want to pin it on, and there's plenty of them. The starting quarterback didn't perform. Defense didn't have its best day. Carolina played a halfway decent game. Ted Bridgewater did what he does, and he's a solid, competent quarterback, and he played solidly and competently. And we lost a game we knew we had to win after Baltimore took care of business against the Giants. So let's just start there for a second. Tim, you first. What stood out to you about the loss?
Well, the special teams touchdown, too, did not help. The quarterback being largely responsible for not moving the ball and also turning the ball over, putting your defense in the game for too long and, in precarious situations. So the field battle was certainly against the defense. But, again, the defense did what they had to do to win a game in the NFL. The offense couldn't pick it up. And that largely fell on Dwayne. I think the comparison to Heineke and his numbers at the stage and the situation of the game is not always fair, but I think that was the weak link in the game. And I think there's also something to the other 10 guys on the field when they're not so bought in to one guy who's as important as the quarterback position is. I think that played a role. Obviously, in the offense's lack of success.
What stood out to you, Kevin?
We just can't ask the defense to be perfect every week.
Right.
This is a young D, man. It's a first-year coordinator. It's a whole new front. We've gone from a 3-4 to a 4-3, and we're asking them to do the impossible week in, week out. They've been damn good, but they can't be perfect, and they weren't perfect this week. And our offense is, I mean, it was a joke. It was, how we had some early success running the ball a little bit with Gibson, but
he looked good though.
It's demoralizing to watch us. But guess what? You don't sit there throwing stuff at the television. We've said this. I've said it from day one. No expectations from this season. We're heading into the final week with a chance at the division title. No apologies, and I'm getting that nervous feeling because do you know how cool it would be for number 99 and number 90 to line up on playoff Saturday or Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
And try and meet at the GOAT for the development of these two guys, for the ability just to say, I played against the GOAT in a playoff game my rookie or second year. That to me is mind-blowing. And what's the GOAT's poison? A four-man line that can bring pressure against an offensive line that doesn't have to be dominant. I know I'm getting 3 weeks ahead of stuff right here, but the idea of that gift to be given to our young defense, they've earned the right. They've earned the right to play against that guy on this field with what they've done for us this whole season. And it's killing me that we're this close in that city, about 2 hours north of us.
You're not talking about
is the
Mitchell
one.
Trubisky either.
I'm not.
Guessing.
I'm
Just
not.
making sure.
The pewter and burgundy. What are they? Pewter and bronze. What's that red of theirs? Maroon and pewter.
It's
I don't know.
Burnt something.
Whatever it is, they look pretty comfortable to be that 5 seed. I think. We'll see.
What you're describing, Kevin, is the scenario where if someone told you back in August that this was the situation that the Washington football team would be in, you'd look at them and go, you're fucking nuts. There's no way. Meaningful football playoff talk in the last week of the season, that's just not happening. I don't think we thought that was going to happen. And now I don't know how boastful you need to be at the top of the NFC East right now. That's not something you want to put on your resume.
See, I don't care about that, though.
But nonetheless, we were talking about it when you missed that night. This is so much better. This is so much more fun. We have something to be jacked up about in the last week of the season.
That was a close one.
It was a close one.
Well, after the F-bomb in the church basement, I know
Yes.
we're getting fired up. It's playoff time.
Hell
It's over.
yeah.
It's playoff time. And whatever. We'll get into the discussion of who we're playing this week. Our defense needs some help. I don't know if we're going to get it this year, but it's fun as hell to watch them keep us in it. And if we could just get a little something, if we could generate some type of score. If we give up a special team score, we're dead. You know what I mean?
We're dead.
That's just.
We haven't been built to overcome mistakes like that for quite some time.
No.
Shout out to Portland, Oregon, Damian Lynch, my 6'4", 6'5" cousin. I don't know how that kind of height exists in my family, but it does. And yes, I did call it 2020 interesting. I try to be nice at the top of the show. It's just what.
And
what
I'm
I
just
do.
going to say this while we're on this topic. I'm done with this 2020 stuff like everybody else, but I don't think of it as that calendar year.
Right.
In fact, I had a pretty damn good time last January, February, all the way up until mid-March.
Yes.
Everything seemed to be going fairly well.
It was a great first quarter.
And when we wake up hungover as dogs on January 1st and it's 2021, it's still going to be a pandemic.
Yep.
It's going to be shitty weather. We're going to be hungover, laying on the couch eating some gross food. Not much
Still
is
worried
gonna
about
change.
whether we're going to beat Philly.
I'm focused. Yes, I'm nervous.
Yeah,
it's
still
causing
nervous.
sleep loss.
Look, we have the defense that really the only help they need. And what we missed this past week and what you get in an Alex Smith, if he's ready to go, which we're, I think, at this point hearing he is. If not, even a Taylor Heineke can do what needed to be done, and that is move the chains a little bit. You don't have to light it up. You don't have to, score 5 touchdowns and throw for over 500 yards. You have to manage the game better. You have to put your team in a better field position. If you can't get points, pin them back a little bit because our defense can keep them out of the zone. You just got to bide your time and make some big plays and not put the team in a hurtful position, which is what happened.
All right, so let's move on to the hurt. Wake up Monday morning. So he's he's gotten multiple chances on this team already. This was, whether you want to call it a last chance, it was another chance that he had on Sunday. He been stripped of his captaincy, fined. He made the mistake multiple times over the season, putting himself ahead of the team, going into a week when playoffs were on the line, division title was on the line. He becomes the story. That's never going to fly with an old school veteran head coach like Ron Rivera. And he does, even if he didn't believe it would have impacted the play on the field, he didn't want that in his locker room. He didn't want that in, let people talk about Carolina beating us. Let people talk about people not believing in our team's ability to win. Don't let them talk about our starting quarterback causing problems. So we wake up Monday morning and he's gone. Or at some point Monday it happens, he's gone. It's shocking. It's shocking for a variety of reasons. Because they don't do that in the NFLT. It's not shocking because of the move and getting rid of him. It's shocking because guys don't make that are heads of teams don't eat that kind of salary cap. They don't get rid of a guy before week 17 in a prior day. Our opponent the following week would pick that guy up. Now that ain't happening, I don't think this time around. But it's a move that is singular and uniquely ballsy. And I loved the decisiveness of it.
Ballsy. It's never happened before.
It's totally shocking.
In the history of the NFL, no first-round quarterback has ever not made it through two full seasons. Aside from a few trades, and there's some stuff. This goes back to the beginning of professional football.
That's correct.
There's guys that had to fight in the war that, got drafted by one league or the other, but never has a guy been outright cut before the second season is over. Holy moly. And he extended it. He extended it so he could cut him.
He did.
This could have happened last week.
Well, that's where I was. And I'm not here arguing you guys that it, and I'm not arguing it's not precedented. It's not shocking to me. For me personally, just my take was, even last week, it just isn't working out. He's in a bad spot. And when it started becoming a bigger story than the game, as Rivera was even saying last week, we're playing Carolina this week. If it's not about the Carolina game, I don't want to talk about it. That's how big of a distraction it was last week.
Yep.
Now, he got the extra week. He did what he did on the field, but then off the field, he doesn't stick around. It just all that little crap. Rivera doesn't want to deal with that.
That's right.
Nobody wants to deal with that. The distraction became too big. That's why it's not shocking to me that they just said,
but it's not shocking to you that they lost him, but it's shocking that you cut a guy like that. You could have Keyshawned him. You could have buried him. You could have said,
let the season end.
Yeah, let the season end.
I don't think it would cause that. I mean, listen, here's why I think let the season end. The young man, his final act as a Washington football team member on the field.
Running out to shake Taylor Heineke's hand.
The Heineke maneuver, I've been calling it.
Maneuver.
As he came out for that Heineke maneuver, I was like, oh no.
It was so bad.
I knew something was weird because Chase was already out there. And I was like, he's trying. That guy, he just.
So bad.
Here's the deal, man. The moment was too big for him. He's not a bad person. Yeah. I think we've all agreed that we don't think he's a bad guy. He's trying out there. He was not prepared for that moment. He wasn't prepared to be a starter in the NFL for the Washington football team. He had another couple chances at it. This was had to wash over him as he got benched. This is it. And he was trying to do what was right. And part of his brain was saying, get on out there and be a leader, and he tried to do that. And it was so awkward, man.
It's more like watching a train wreck in that you don't.
I don't think it was a train wreck.
No. The whole situation in that you're looking at it, but you don't want to watch it.
That part, yes.
Yeah. It's kind of like, oh, this is uncomfortable. Okay, it's reached an uncomfortable stage. And listen, any fan is entitled to their opinion or what they want to say, but no ill will towards the kid. I hope he figures it out. Watching that interview he did on USA 9, you started really feeling bad for the kid because it's not about football anymore.
Not for him.
Get yourself right, dude. You're young. You got to wait. You're going to get a chance again. But take care of yourself.
And he'll be all right. And here's why. He's a knucklehead. He's not a criminal. He's not a felon. He's aside from the miscalculation, the the biggest boner of all, the maskless stripper photos. With a coach who's been battling cancer. That's the one time that he put other people in danger, and I think he recognized that afterwards. But most of the stuff he's done, he's just done to himself, guys.
He
all the anger around here, all the – we're not
Don't
angry
be-
at
don't
him for
hate
not
him.
being great at football right now. In fact,
Don't
we're the
hate
first
him.
ones that said he's not going to be great this year. Unfortunately, we really wanted to have that third year, one offseason under Rivera. Maybe not to be our starter, but maybe to garner a fourth-rounder. Maybe a fifth-rounder somehow, some way.
I
am sick to my stomach about losing out the value.
Yep. He's wearing a label now in the league.
Yes,
and
he was
can't shake
devalued
it.
to a point,
Yep.
and he did it to himself. And we're not about branding. We're about winning. And I think Rivera's known the whole time this was going to be a bit of an issue unless it improved. And it didn't.
He falls somewhere between a Baker Mayfield and a Johnny Manziel. He's got the talent like a Baker Mayfield does, who's done some boneheaded, stupid things himself, but has proven himself on the field as a starting quarterback versus a Johnny Manziel who just didn't get it and was a waste of a pick and a bust.
And he had
complete
substance
bust.
abuse problems,
He's
I
between
believe.
that.
Right. We're talking
he has
about
a chance to move closer to the Baker Mayfield, and I hope not the Johnny Manziel path.
Yep.
We all hope.
Haskins is just a bit of an immature kid at 23, and we see guys like Lamar Jackson and 23-year-olds
Baker is.
and
Deshaun
Chase
Watson
Young
and
doing all these
Mahomes
things.
and
But
Sure.
I mean, I don't know. When he's there, the stripper photos and all that, I'm just sitting there thinking, like, this is some naked ladies. There wasn't a bunch of gator tails lined up and whiskey bottles flying around. It was about boobs, man.
Yeah.
Stripper boobs for a 23-year-old guy. And he's being talked about as if he was a mass murderer because he's not great at quarterback for us. There's a bit of it like we got to separate this, guys. He's 23. It's a pandemic. He likes strippers. I mean, you got to grow up. You can't just you got to grow up.
But it wasn't about the strippers. It was the decision.
It was kind of about the
regardless
strippers.
of what,
I think it was about the strippers.
Well, some people make it
In
too
a way,
big about. I think
it was
some
about the
people are
strippers.
making too big of a deal about the Heineke maneuver. When they start dissecting it and saying, really negative things about it, it's like, dude, that's getting a little nitpicky.
No, it was just awkward.
I'm not picking on the fact it was strippers. The fact it was strippers made the
strippers.
story worse.
Yeah.
But it was the decision to do
Maskless
something
strippers?
that broke protocol. I could care less who it was with or what you were doing.
If the strippers were
You
wearing
broke
masks,
protocol,
would we be
and
talking
you
about
broke
it
it for the
differently?
second time.
Masks. If the strippers were wearing masks, I'm asking for a friend in the NFL right now who's like, wait a second. If I go to a party and the strippers are wearing masks, are we back in business?
Yeah, he'd be down with PPE. We would have it would be
I like
20,000, not
Okay.
40,000 would be my guess.
We're just if he
How
has
does that work?
the,
If you're
the trailblaze.
completely naked in a mask, is that good?
Well, you better have a shield
I mean,
for
not-
that sword.
I'm
no
no
one in this
doctor or
room.
scientist, but, I mean,
You're not a doctor
particles
or scientist.
are still
Understood about the
Particles.
particles. Understood about the particles. Let's move on. Let's move on from the particles.
That was your biggest boner of the
I
night.
thought we were talking football, not science.
Not particles or science.
Ugh.
All right, so I love where we sit right now for the following reason. Ron Rivera has put his foot in the ground and made a Marshawn Lloyd type move up the field at a target, which for us is the playoffs. And I like the way this sits in our locker room. I don't think anyone in our locker room was happy to have to be dealing with what was going on last week. I don't think anyone in the locker room was counting on Dwayne Haskins to save the season. I don't think any of the players are looking at a guy like Dwayne Haskins as a casualty of a Rivera regime. I think you got the Chase Youngs and the Terry McLaurins, to put two of our best players. I think they see it as, man, this is what I signed up for. I would play professional football at the highest possible level and give as much as I possibly can. And all I can ever ask is that the guy in charge, in our case, Ron Rivera, does everything in his power to give me a chance to get where I want to go. And I think they're going to love him for it. I think they love him for it. And I think they are happy. They're not happy about losing a guy in that way, but they're happy about waking up this morning and every morning from now until Sunday with the only thought in their minds of this is how we're going to get it done, whether it's Taylor or Alex. This is what's going to happen. Ron Rivera is freeing us from all this crap. I love it.
It's the part of the movie where the Disney orchestra strikes up,
Ooh, another Disney.
And
I
starts
like it.
getting that, hell yeah, here we go. Start kicking some ass now.
Which Disney movie are you referring to?
I don't
The
know.
one that's
the hell
coming.
Yeah one.
The one that's coming. That
Okay.
turn where you kind of understand, this is where it gets good,
Hey, he's been whipping up this culture recipe, and it's almost done. You can smell it throughout the building. Everyone's starting to get hungry for it, and I agree with you, Ken. He's going to be a guy that can advance a lot of people's careers, not just the Chase Youngs, not just the starting quarterback.
That's right.
There's going to be a lot of guys that have come out of Carolina that have said, I owe everything I have to this man. He made me a lot of money. He taught me how to play. And he's going to teach these guys how to play within this system that we've specifically been drafting for one season only so far. And all of our rookies seem to be pretty damn good fits. Can't wait to see what Sadiq Charles has to bring to the table next year.
Yep.
But I feel like we've got a lot of guys that have overachieved from this past draft.
8th or 9th youngest team in the league. You ask Ron Rivera to take the wheel of a ship that's been driven by a drunk driver for years and get it straight. And that's everything he's done now. You can just say like he's made those moves with that in mind. And I think there's, even though you got the people out there saying, well, if he would have waited until this day to make the move, it would have saved him X amount of dollars. No, I don't buy into that at all. First of all, we have salary cap space. Secondly, no one's coming to this team as a free agent to be part of the circus that's been in town for 20 years. And until you put your foot in the ground and get decisive about this culture and what it's going to mean for Ron Rivera.
Making it enticing for other people.
This
that
is
want
immediate
to come.
and long term. This move says everything about year 1 of Ron Rivera through year 5 of Ron Rivera. It is an awesome thing. It couldn't be more impactful beyond what really is a crazy. I mean, it's crazy to think that we're playing for something this Sunday, and all I'm thinking is, man, he just took whatever rudder we had and made it 10 times bigger. We are riding steady under this guy right now. And
unfortunately, the ownership situation remains.
It does, and
problem.
it's being resolved. But I mean, I haven't seen in terms of football. I haven't seen the Snyder effect.
We've put that out of our brain.
Yeah.
We don't. That's not.
But it's always got to be there.
I've taken it out. I'm done. I'm just over it. It's not gonna. Hey, his final terrible decision before his best decision ever. He left Juan Rivera one more turd in the bowl, didn't he? One more situation, and I don't mean Dwayne being a turd. I mean maybe not a fit, obviously, for what we're trying to do, what Ron's trying to do offensively. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And he inherited that, and it didn't work, and now it's over with. And now we start talking about
Jalen Hurts
versus Alex Smith or
Doug Peterson
or whoever. Yeah, Doug Peterson, former Super Bowl champion head coach, who he embarrassed us a couple times. And you got Jim Schwartz out here. You hear what he's talking about today?
Yeah.
They have the no hat policy, the no hat rule this week. He's been talking about this in the media. I haven't heard him say much all year. All day today, no hat rule. 3 different places, no hats. Told the boys today.
What you got a problem with hats for?
The NFC East Championship hat will not be worn at the link is their big old driving thing. And now it's spreading like wildfire. I'm thinking it's time to get our finest hats ready, gentlemen. He's trying to turn this into a hoedown?
A hoedown.
We all dance around the hat and shoot the shit out of each other? Is that how a hoedown goes? I think you're supposed to dance with someone else's girl first. A do-si-do.
There might be a do-si-do.
Was that the main
Keegan would know. He's the expert on square
pushed
dancing.
it to an 8 o'clock game?
Man.
The drama? No hats.
The drama.
No
No hat
This
rule.
is slaying all kinds of demons for us.
I hope Dwayne Haskins didn't have that
I hope
no
you
hat
bring
rule.
your green hat.
My green hat?
I hope.
Your green hat?
Yeah.
Snoop-a-loop?
Yeah.
Bring your green hat. I think that the move to Sunday night flex is a flex. Where everything's about this game is a flex. So
We got flexed on
we're getting
the last weekend of the season, the last game. That's
Hey,
our flex.
It's not void of drama and good TV.
That's right.
Is it not? I mean, it was discussed the entire freaking game.
The last regular season game of the NFL season will be Washington versus Philadelphia. That is, there was no way anyone was predicting that 5 weeks ago, maybe even 4 weeks ago. So, and I think that when people tune in and they see maybe Taylor Heineke understudy and they're like, "Why am I watching this?" Just stick around for a quarter or two. It'll get real damn interesting, real damn fast.
So what's it going to be, guys? Is it going to be the one-legged wonder, or is Ron Rivera going to grab a Heine?
From
what
what I've seen, I think all indications are that Alex is going to be preparing to be the starter.
Well, that was the indications last week as well.
Yeah.
I'm not asking what the indications were.
No,
I want
think
T.
they're stronger.
Strachan's. I want T. Strachan's
I think
answer.
Alex plays. I think
Heineke is going to be a factor in this game, and I have no
starter. I want a starter here, man.
Alex. I think Alex starts.
I hope so. He deserves the chance to start it.
He deserves the chance to start it. This is where this game has been coming since he went down on the field November 17th, whatever that day was, 2018, when we were calling the WCAC championships at Catholic University. Ever since that day, I mean, there was this off season, this regular season started with nobody thinking we were going to need or want him to play because we had the rookie and we had Kyle Allen and as we both know, the Disney script calls for him playing for a meaningful
absolutely Alex
title.
Starts.
I think you guys should say Disney script
again. He plays the game that we expect him to play. He gets knocked out for a second. Taylor comes in with a dramatic play. Alex comes and finishes it off, and they make the playoffs.
So Dallas.
This sounds like a dirty story. Also, you sicko.
By the way, Dallas plays early.
He has the same script for everything.
He has the same script for everything.
Just different actors, different storyline,
age groups.
That's what Disney does.
The question is, I'm always rooting against Dallas. If Dallas loses, I think it's over, right? If Dallas loses, we can still. No, it's not.
No, because the Giants own the tiebreaker.
That's right. That's right.
We'd both be 6-10. They got us.
Sorry, I forgot they're playing the Giants.
On the go for twos.
They go for twos. Yeah. That's right. And when you think about the season, I think someone on the board was saying this, and it was either AGH or Eric or Robert. The fact that, or Greg for that matter, the fact that you look back at the Lions game, at least one of the Giants games, this past game against Carolina, and you think about lost opportunities. And that's a luxury. I mean, because we weren't looking at this season as trying to get the most out of a really good team and not to leave anything out there. Those losses were the kind of losses a team like ours takes, and you expect them. It's such a luxury to look back and say, man, what maybe could have been or should have been. But at the end of the day, I don't lose any fan sleep about it because that's who our team is. We are 6-win, licious, and hopefully trying to get that 7th win, which we've been saying since I want to say it was like the 3rd or 4th week. Yeah. 7 wins is going to get this division. That's going to be true.
That's getting it done.
It would be a very 2020 NFC East thing for the Giants to somehow sneak it out.
Going into last week, I said it. Previous 5 weeks, 5. It's a lot of football. The NFC East had the premier record of any other conference.
Yep.
That's a big deal. That's 5 weeks. They were 9-6 over that span. No one else had 3 games above. I'm telling you right now, people are going to be a little worried about having to deal with whoever it is on that 4-5 game. Can give someone a decent game. It's not. I don't care if they have 6 wins or 7. And Ron Rivera is one of 3 teams that have ever done it. He did it already. So, whatever.
I think Chase Young's seen Jalen Hurts before in a big moment or two.
Hey, let me tell you this. I know Jalen Hurts. And when you hear, the guy, yes, he can throw, he can run, and he's a supremely talented human being at life off the field. I love the kid.
Yeah, he's great.
Winners are winners,
He's a winner. But I'm going to tell you this. When he starts watching game film from the first week of the season, now we were a different defense then.
Yep.
Troy Akpe led the defense in tackles that day, if that tells you anything. 15 quarterback hits on Carson Wentz.
Yeah, we broke him.
8 sacks. We broke him
It was
in half.
hard to watch.
And we weren't even scratching the surface yet with what we were about to do. This O-line has nothing on our D-line, and that's a major problem. And we held them to 57 yards rushing, fellas, and we're nasty against the pass. I think their offense is going to have a very hard time. We have got to have our big boys up front be able to rush for 150 yards. We can't mess around. We got to run
just
the
can't
shit
be doing it
out
from
of
the 50
ball.
in.
Yep.
I know.
They can't. Or they can't be doing it with a short yardage. They can't be doing it with,
It's old school.
being
No
on the
penalties,
field for
no
forever.
defensive.
You're
can't.
eventually going to make mistakes. Your
offsides.
defensive backs can't cover over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
You get 3 and outs. You get great play, right? Get them off the field. You just need a manageable quarterback. You don't even need a great one. That's why we want Alex Smith in. Just not to F it all up, but give yourself a chance to win when it counts.
Yep. Come on,
That's the formula.
Antonio.
It doesn't matter
Get
who
that
we're
thing
playing
going.
anymore. And as Ron said, you're playing free money right now.
Yep.
You got to play free fun and just, leave it out there. And I think Ron's the guy to get that message across. Your Chase Youngs, your Terry McLaurins, these are the guys that they're learning to win. We talk about that all the time, right? The team that comes just short one year of the Super Bowl is always the leading contender sometimes the next year because they have that experience. Ron's given these guys a chance to have that experience this early in his tenure, and they can build on it. That's why this is so big. Not just to get into the playoffs, but to experience it, to have already been there, to know what it takes, and then to build on that. That's what's
nothing
great
replaces
about all
winning.
this stuff.
Like winning, nothing builds a winning culture except for winning. And in that regard, this win is huge for the future of our team.
Or even
Gotta have this win.
Listen, even losing this game is the experience these guys need to go to another step,
Yep.
right? To have that bad taste in their mouth for another off season is not a bad thing. It could also be a good thing.
Well,
but the fact they're in this position in the first place
Make some
is
lemonade
a great
out of
opportunity.
that lemon. But I mean, at this point, nothing would be better for this young group than to win because you come home and play a home playoff
having put
game.
yourself in this position, win or lose, has made this
And Nick, this is a second crack at a win or
huge
go home
step
game.
in the
Yeah.
right direction for
This
this
has to be a
franchise.
win. Yeah, I hear you. I just going into Philly. Yeah, and we will spin that. But man, just to have our edge guys be able to say, just to be able to have Duran and John Allen and how about those deep back? How about when Kendall Fuller steps in front of one? Now he's got a Super Bowl ceiling INT, so he's got a pretty big one, but. I don't think he'd mind having another ball up there above the fireplace that
And
says
Dan, did he play
T.
well?
Brady 2021.
Did he play well or what? I mean,
a
him
star,
and
man.
Darby have been playing.
Darby has been a
Really
badass.
well.
Darby has been challenged time and time again. He's given up a few things. He competes his ass off. I'd love to bring him back.
Yeah,
I'd love to bring him back.
We are better off with the effort level that he's been putting in the last couple months, really all season long. But
Buried Fabian. Fabian's not even. When was the last
He's
time we
buried
said
Fabian.
that name?
he's absolutely buried Fabian.
In
Jimmy
a
Moreland,
contract year. he
Moreland's
buried
playing.
Fabian.
Moreland's playing great.
Making plays.
I agree, man.
I mean, they said Reeves' name a lot for the wrong reasons this week, but he's another young guy who has he has more upside than he does downside at this point, and his mistakes, in my opinion, are driven by his lack of reps, and he's getting those reps right now. So.
And he's a practice squad guy.
He's a
you know what I
practice
mean?
squad
It's
guy.
not
Your
like
boy Kaliki Make.
Malik Kaliki
Kaliki
Hudson.
Hudson.
Man.
He's just knocking it out. So I'm nervous too. I got knots in my stomach going into this week. It's going to be a long day of watching.
So much better
football.
than talking about our draft position.
So much better.
To have
we'll
knots
talk
in
about
your
that next week. We'll have a draft position talk next week.
2 weeks. 3
2
weeks.
2 or
We'll
3
figure
weeks.
that
Yeah,
out.
I don't even. The easiest thing to do would be to talk about you lose you cut Dwayne Haskins and you start planning for what you're going to do to replace him next year. I'm not wanting to touch that with a 10-foot pole. We're going to go into this week and. I have no problem whatsoever if Taylor Heineke's our starting quarterback. I'd be excited about that, to be quite honest
It'll be
with you.
fun, man.
It'll be a
Look,
lot of fun.
the fact that Chase goes in there, the newly minted captain, the guy that everybody is feeding off of, energy-wise, wants to give this guy who just showed up, who was taking college exams, just a couple weeks ago, kind of give him a little and the guy looks at him and says, "This is what I do, man." And he feels like this guy's got swag. I'd love for that storyline. Don't get me wrong. To have a guy I covered Heineke when ODU came to play Maryland. I called that game. There was a lot of talk about it. He was impressive, man. He just doesn't have the prototypical size.
No, he throws the changeup. He throws the
changeup.
You can see the difference in the ball.
And he's a capable guy. He understands it. He gets it. He can bring him in late. He's like a Sean Hill who had, almost a 10-year career in the NFL.
He played in the pros for a while.
As a backup because he's smart as hell. He doesn't put your team in a bad spot, and he plays with confidence.
Yeah, when he drops back and he throws the ball and the camera doesn't show, you can't see where that ball's going, you're like, oh my dear God, he there's no way that ball's going.
I felt a lot of confidence in the way he threw that ball.
Listening to him say, I know, but it's got a little.
It's just different looking.
Yes, it takes he throws it
with purpose,
a millisecond faster, maybe faster than Haskins that way. His release is so quick.
Yeah,
but that ball's got it's almost like he understands the pace but how his footwork works. He is all rhythmic.
You saw it in his body.
It is so smooth.
The confidence was in the way he moved.
But I like the old school, and he's like, this is what I do. Then he goes out there and throws a lollipop 14-yarder for a first down. You're like, you crafty bastard.
It freaked me out because my son, my son's like, hey, was he throwing that ball hard? And I'm like, there's a difference between a first-round arm and a guy who can throw to a wide receiver in the National Football League.
Get it there.
You can just he got it there, and it was exciting. Again, I'm waiting for them to. I need like 100-inch screen so I can just see the whole thing. Because until the camera pans, and you're like, where the hell is that ball going? Until you realize it's going to one of our guys.
3rd and 9. McLaurin fair catches it for an 11-yard gain.
Yes.
First down. Washington football team.
I don't care. I need more TV.
And then he's out there just like.
Yes.
Yeah, pointing at Chase on the sideline.
It will be
I got
different.
you. I got you, 9-9.
It will be different when it's the second quarter and it's just 3rd and 7 and they're bringing the heat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a totally different scenario.
I'll tell you what.
Then rushing 3 and dropping 8 into zone coverage.
Right.
We're going to try some of this nog tea, some of this homemade, a present from one of our friends. We told you.
So Marguerite Beckley, a good childhood friend from my days at Holy Cross Elementary.
Leslie, mine as well.
My wife Leslie as well, and we're still very good friends. She made this home concoction. Kevin and I have never had nog touch our lips ever, and it's very strong Jameson in here.
It's a lot of egg, strong on the egg,
but
extra egg.
To our whiskey friend too, Eric Anderson, I'm going to take my first sip of nog for you, my friend.
Yeah. Just
cheers.
For your health.
Let's go get one this
weekend,
Marguerite, guys.
Whatever face Kevin and I make is not a personal indictment on you.
Let's get a win.
It's on the nog.
Hey, man. Dairy and liquor.
Everyone's got to give this week.
Cheers.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
That's noggy. Must be watered down. No, it's good. It's really good. 3 Amigos reference for you, all you out there.
All right.
It's good.
I like it. Thank you, Marguerite.
I'll tell you one thing. That's like doing a shot of pudding and Jameson.
Which, by the way, is exactly where I want to be.
Delicious holiday pudding.
Let's get on with this holiday, man. Let's get it over with. Let's have fun. Let's kick 2020 in the ass, and let's play some ball and win a game that takes us to the playoffs.
Win an NFC East.
Come on.
This guy's nog-faced already.
Marty,
take it easy. How much did you pour in there? That's like his second sip of nog, and he's already talking all. He's got the Disney movie.
Let's recreate the Haskins scenario down this church basement.
I'm ready to talk sequel.
I like where your head's at. Appreciate everybody. Got some Happy New Year's coming through. Happy New Year to all you guys.
New Year, guys.
Let's get one. Let's come back next Tuesday night and talk about a playoff matchup. Sunday Night Football, guys. Here it comes. Playoffs on the line. Only game that anyone's going to be watching before the playoffs start. The last regular season game that any pro football fan's going to watch is going to be our game. You're welcome. Merry Christmas to the entire sports-loving world. He's Tim Strachan.
Happy New Year's, everybody. Let's beat the nog out of the Eagles. Let's get ourselves some postseason
This
fun.
guy.
Woo!
He's Kevin Ricka.
Cheers. I'm going to keep my mouth shut because that nog came in hot.
It does. That was a strong hit and
Oh, it's delicious,
like
Marguerite, by
fire
the way.
coming
It's
out my
delicious, but
mouth.
it's got some heat sheathed underneath there.
Just bringing it.
Cartwheeling
Bringing it.
home.
Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging with us for an entire 2020. We are going to take some stock on the other side of this year. We're not going to give 2020 the benefit of toasting it on the way out. We're just going to power our way through. Got a huge one coming for us on Sunday night. Come back next Tuesday night and join us to talk about the amazing beatdown of the Philadelphia Eagles that saw the Washington football team raise a banner in this year. Thank you so much for being with us. As always, appreciate you guys. On behalf of Tim, on behalf of Kevin, on behalf of myself, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Have a great, great, great holiday week. We will see you next week. This was, thank God it's Tuesday. Still live, boys.
Let's get some more of that